where you're at your baby's beck and call, maybe that's not so bad. They said breastfed babies cry less. They're more, calm. So it's actually less work. I can't say for sure. I can say for my child, yes, my child is actually, she's in her terrible twos now, but she was a very calm baby. She was very low maintenance. But I was at her beck and call all the time, so I don't really know if she would have been difficult, but I tried to have all her needs met, and in that sense, she was easy. So maybe if we don't fight our children and we go along with them, because we invite these souls on this earth, we are the reason why they're here. And they are here for us to love and to take care of and nurture and make into happy, healthy human beings. If that means when you cry, I see what the hell is wrong with you, I thank you for that.
But a lot of people will say, like, if they tried everything, I birthed her, fed her, and she's still crying, oh, well. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, at that point, is it okay to let the baby cry out?
You know what? That usually is a sign that something is wrong. Usually when babies cry, usually it's gastrointestinal issues. I think all the parents here can attest to that.
Definitely.
When young babies cry,
that's
it's
babies, though. What about toddlers?
Well, you know what? With toddlers, by that time, toddlers are a whole different story. That's a whole different ball of wax. And that's something that I'm dealing with now. Like I think I've said before, one of my biggest issues is I don't want to create shame in my child. We, and as Americans and all around the world, and actually in other societies, it's quite prevalent also, we use shame. Shame is not really a natural emotion in a child. They learn to feel shame. And we encourage shame in children as a way to control them. If you feel ashamed, you won't do that. And therefore you'll be a good person and society will work, will function. And so, things like that, those issues you got to work on when you're with a toddler. Do I want to, use shame as a way to control my toddler's behavior? Do I want to, and we instill fear in our toddlers, and we do this out of love to control what they do. We make them afraid. We start with, the boogeyman going to get you, or God is watching, things like that. So those are different issues with toddlers that you have to, get with, and I would love to have discussions about that also. What I'm saying is that when you only have one shot in raising your kids. You only got one shot. If you have to bust your ass to do whatever you have to do in the beginning, and it means, because you brought this child in the world. The child didn't ask to come here. You did it. You signed on for this. If that's going to save you, from years of pain and suffering later on, it may not, because we're not in control, but, we're only in control of certain things. But the basic thing is we want to raise children to be happy and healthy and great human beings who are going to usher in a new era in society, who are going to contribute to the world and make the world a better place. If you're going to raise a leader, a compassionate humanitarian, you got to raise them a little differently.
And this is what I do not understand. Like, going back to what you said earlier, why would people have an issue with exploring these other alternatives? Like, why, if you say, let's question the way that we've been doing things, why is the first response to get angry, to say, I'm not going to let somebody else tell me? Or, what is, I don't understand that. Like, right now, I feel like a kid in a candy store, who I don't have an opinion one way or the other. I'm very much like Tawana on this, but just having my mind open and having this new avenue to explore and this homework to do as an aspiring mother just brings me joy. Why isn't that the natural response here in America, particularly when we talk about changing our norms?
Well, let me jump in. I would jump in and say that's because we're taught to kind of follow the norms, follow what everybody else is doing. We're not taught to do anything outside the box. That's just the way the society is.
True.
So
but
when you actually
changes what everybody is doing, you know what I'm saying? It's like hip hop. Hip hop at one point did not exist. There are children who can't even conceive a world without hip hop. But it started as something that grew, and now it's everywhere. It's like, so concepts are introduced to our culture and embraced, but then other concepts, and they have opposition, but, you're going to get way more opposition talking about breastfeeding your child to 4 years old than they got with hip-hop. for a child, you know?
Well, I think, you know, like what Tawana was saying, it's the way we're brought up. You know, we're taught that our breasts are sexual and they belong to a man. So the idea, you know, that a child, you know, will look at our breasts and go, ew, that's disgusting, you know. And these are all things that we, you know, put on ourselves. You know, this is artificial thought. This is not innate.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's culture. And then it's also, you know, if you're taught that to raise your child to be independent is the best thing, which is what we're taught in this country. And we all want our children to be independent. No one wants to have, you know, a 23-year-old living in the house writing his name on the orange juice, you know, living in the basement. Nobody wants that. But, you know, we tend to think that we got to start immediately, like, baby crying, no, because we're going to be living in my house, you know. And we just look at raising a child as a countdown to when they turn 18 and get the hell out. And we have got to change, you know, the way that we raise our children. I think and look at and see my daughter is screaming right now. So I don't know if you guys can hear her, but it's very distracting. But, you know, it takes, you know, being able to see that, wow, maybe if I, you know, do nurture my child, that it does not mean that they are going to become weak or dependent. Maybe it actually means that they'll be, you know, more secure. Maybe they'll have more self-esteem. Maybe they'll have more courage because that foundation that I provided for them, they don't know what it is to not get what they want. So when they get older, they're like, you know what, this is possible for me. Unlike a child maybe who was used to being denied and used to being told no, after a while these children believe that there really is nothing else out there for them. What I'm just saying is that do the research. Do the research. And doing these things, it doesn't mean that you neglect yourself. You know,
right.
It means that it's very possible to work it, and it actually makes your life easier. At least it did for me. Like I said, breastfeeding and sleeping with my child, I got 8 hours of sleep every night. And I found that way easier than putting her in another room and having to wake up in the middle of the night and do all of that. And it was definitely easier on my husband because, as Michael said, my husband never had to get up to get a crying baby ever in his life. And it wasn't something that, you know, I don't resent that because we were both getting good sleep. You know, so it just takes research. We are getting beyond the time. I just want to do a quick round table and get everyone's last thoughts, please. Okay, Arthur. Yes, Pastor Arthur. All righty then. Okay, we're going to go on.
That's me.
Okay, wow, okay.
You said what?
All right, so I'm just trying to grab folks that I haven't heard. I know I've kind of talked a lot. I just feel like I missed so much in the beginning. Everlene?
Hey.
Hey. You're not lost, dear.
Probably would have to be that you always want to put the best ingredients in your child. Breastfeeding is part of the program.
Okay. All right. Well put. Well stated. Michael?
I would say that to study the process, you know, study our culture, get back into what our cultures are. And, you know, and I know old habits are hard to break, you know, and we've been doing certain things without question for quite some time. But we have to take the job of raising our children much more seriously and not look for the microwave, you know, quick fix type thing. We have to really try to understand how important this is, and what we put in them in the beginning is what we'll get out of them in the end.
Wow. Tawana?
I don't have children, so like I was saying before, I would probably just do some research, you know, to decide what's best for me and my child and how I would like to, you know, rear them and nurture them. That's pretty much it.
All right. And Miss Dominique?
Are we going to, look, my last thought is a question, provide resources like on on your blog or on the Inspirit website for nerds like me who, like, now want to read up a lot on breastfeeding and sleeping with your child?
Oh, that's a great idea. Yes, we will. Now we will, yes.
Okay. So that's my last thought. Yay.
Well, my last thought simply is that without sounding preachy, we are in charge of raising the next generation. We see the issues that are happening now with our economy, where, we've changed, from a service-based economy to now an economy where it's taking creative and free thinkers in order to, move ahead. Now it's not a thing of, okay, I'm going to graduate from high school, get a job, and, work and retire, and I'll be good. That doesn't exist anymore. We have to have free thinkers who are going to come in and revamp society and revamp the world. If our children are going to be able to compete in this new society, if they're going to be able to bring forth new ideas that move forward society, that move forward humanity, they've got to be equipped. And love. You can never, ever love too much. And I'm not meaning bailing your 32-year-old son out of jail. No, we're not talking about that. But, the techniques of attachment parenting, I encourage everyone to research. I'm going to put some stuff out on the blog. But research and make your own decisions and tweak things. See what you want to do. But, we've got to do all we can, with the forces that are within our control. We've got to do all we can, for that next generation. So just a thought. Thank you very much, everyone. I do apologize to the callers who patiently waited and could not get their 2 cents in. I apologize. If you can please go to our Facebook page, like us, and put your comments on Facebook, that would be great so that everyone can hear what you have to say. Or you can go, the YouTube video will be up probably tomorrow. You can put your comments on YouTube also. Get you a piece. We love you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
The content of Inspirit Radio, owned and operated by Inspirit Communications, is intended for general information purposes only. It is not designed to provide listeners with specific and personal medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. The programs are not meant to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Individuals with health problems should always consult their healthcare provider for professional medical advice, medications, or treatment.